When this morning's guest wanted to open his new business, he reflected back on some blueprints and realized that he needed to be assisted by God. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Reflections, assisted living facility in Carolina Forest, across from Carolina Forest Elementary School and behind Horry County State Bank. We're focused on Reflections, and we're visiting with its owner, Sonny Clardy. Good morning, Sonny.
Hi, Greg. Good morning.
And the director of music at Sockasty Baptist Church. I'm sorry I failed
exactly
to,
right.
and of course, the creator of Life Blueprints, and obviously it was fascinating reading about Sonny Clardy investment, educational investments.
Right. That's been
and
some years ago. Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. The educational investments part was when I was a part of Horry County Schools.
Okay,
for
sure.
12 or 13 years. And,
right.
But Life Blueprints is still in place, of course.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Visiting that website, Sherry, our
Really?
producer, had printed off a ton of information there, and to see your goals to really reach that out, not only just in Horry in South Carolina, but all over the country.
Right. That's right. I spent 8 years traveling, sharing Life Blueprints in churches and some private schools, Christian schools, public schools as well.
Right.
As well as my music that has always been a part of my life. But thank you for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. And of course, I think you opened the first of the 4 interviews earlier this week.
Right.
We've had a fascinating lineup just yesterday and the day before. Debbie Harwell,
right,
the founder of the Myrtle Beach Herald,
yes,
our show sponsor.
Wonderful lady.
She is
yes,
tremendous. Rick Neal, who's a licensed funeral director and embalmer.
I've known Rick for years.
Is that right?
Yeah,
He's about to open a new funeral home. And of course on Tuesday, Glenda McIntyre, who's co-chairing this year's Hardball at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center.
I met Glenda this morning, but I've known her husband.
Is that right, Brian? The cardiothoracic surgeon,
yes,
who's a superstar.
Yeah, wonderful people.
One of the only ones in the county, if not the only one. One of two.
Right.
You know, so much has to happen, and obviously as we think about a new facility like this, I think it's just virtually 90 days.
Well, we are very excited. It is a new facility, Reflections at Carolina Forest Assisted Living, and we opened on December 3rd.
Is that right?
December 3rd of 07.
Yeah, less than 90 days.
That's right.
Wow.
So we really had to make a decision, Greg, you know, opening or being approved by DHEC to open.
Right.
Do we go ahead and open right through Christmas?
Right.
Or do we wait because so many people are traveling, and decided to go ahead and open and give people an opportunity to start coming through the building and looking at what we offer, seeing the rooms, seeing the building, and that went very well. We've had a lot of traffic over here all through the month of December and now into January and now into February. But things are picking up. We're extremely excited about what we're going to do here to help the elderly or whatever.
Earlier this week, you gave a couple of us a tour, which was tremendous. A couple other days this week, and it has been amazing to see what all you've done here. If a viewer was visiting the first time, let's say they were coming up from the beach or coming down from the PD, what's the best way to get here, and what are they going to see when they get here?
Okay, the best way to get here is when you come in, like from the PD area on 501, coming from Conway, you would enter into Carolina Forest.
Okay.
The big, green, beautiful sign there right on 501. You would come into Carolina Forest, and once you cross the railroad track, in about a half a mile, you would cross the railroad track, and then you'll see the Horry County State Bank on your left, and the Carolina Forest Elementary School. You would make that first left, and then turn immediately with another left turn, as if you were going into the bank parking lot, or Horry County State Bank, and you'll see Reflections Assisted Living straight ahead.
It's right in front of you. You see the doctor's care on your right, and then Reflections right in front of you.
Gray metal roof building with a brick, and that's how you get to us. If you're coming from the beach, of course, just look for the Carolina Forest sign on your right.
And take a right.
Follow the same direction.
Absolutely.
Very easy to find, right in the heart of Carolina Forest.
Well, you know, as we look out the window here, each morning this week, I've been looking out and seeing. I'm looking at the Carolina Forest Elementary School, and have seen the cars coming in during the interview between 7 and 7:30. It's been amazing to watch each of the flood of cars. There's a ton of cars that come by.
A lot of traffic on that corner.
A lot of visual for y'all, for Doctor's Care, for Horry County State Bank. What a tremendous location. How did you decide, of course, for you, I think you mentioned you live in Myrtle.
Right.
You spent part of your days in Socastee, and then
Right.
how did you decide that this location was going to be right for Reflections?
Well, Greg, I was raised in Myrtle Beach, on the north end of Myrtle Beach, around 62nd Avenue area.
Right.
And I've been living in Northwoods, which is around 76th Avenue there for the last 25 years.
Wow.
Myself and Carolyn and our son Joshua. Joshua's out on his own now, grown man himself. But me and Carolyn still live in Northwoods. And when we were contemplating and praying about this business, the way it came to fruition was through my family. My dad had a touch of dementia leading into Alzheimer's. He passed away, and at that point I started thinking about assisted living. And I started praying about the Lord opening the door and helping me to put the pieces together, the business plan and so forth, that has to take place to make something like this happen. Right. And then after my dad passed away, I took care of my uncle, who in his home was very ill for approximately 3 years.
Wow.
And he took the same path my dad did, dementia and Alzheimer's. And when he passed away, it was just before his passing, about a year before he passed, I had purchased the land here. And the doors started opening. Right. And I met with some people in Myrtle Beach that I've known for many, many years from being grown up in Myrtle Beach. Well, my family came to Myrtle Beach in the late 40s.
Is that right?
Oh, yes.
That long
this
ago.
place, my dad ran an Exxon service station on the north end of Myrtle Beach for 42 years.
Is that
so
right?
So I've seen all the changes in Myrtle Beach. And I've known some wonderful people over the years. Built relationships over the years, and we're going to talk about in just a moment maybe the right blueprints.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I just went to some of these people and sat down and shared my heart with them and said, what do you think? What do you think about the assisted living concept, the need in our community, the need not only in Myrtle Beach but Conway? And that led to the selection of this piece of property. I dealt with Scott McNew, who at the time was with Burrs and Chapin.
Right.
And Scott was very instrumental in helping me locate this and making an offer and being able to acquire the land, and then we started with the plans of the building.
Oh, yeah.
And we just felt like the location, centrally, the way Carolina Forest was growing, the connection to provide a Christian-based business, assisted living, that really has a heart and a passion for it. Right between Myrtle Beach and Conway would be the ideal place to be.
Well, you sure found it, yeah. You sure
We're
found
so
it.
thankful.
Of course, when folks pull up, there's ample parking here, which was tremendous. But when they pull up, what are they going to find when they come inside? I know all this week we've been filming here in the library, which is a great location. I'm looking across at a room over there where there have been a number of the family room, lots of folks coming in and out through there all week long. I think I saw your sister who actually helps out here, who works
Pam
here.
Works in activities.
Who was doing a Bible study one of the days earlier this week, which was tremendous.
As well, this morning as well. So when you come in the entrance of the building, we have the monitor residence for families to come in and out of the building. You have the system is through ADT security, and you swipe your little card, and it lets you in, and at times gives our director opportunity to go online, and she can see the times that people are entering and exiting the building and who they are, because it identifies you. Your card has a number.
That's tremendous.
So we're able to keep track of the entering, and from a safety standpoint, we felt like that was the thing to do.
That's brilliant.
But you would enter the front of the building, and the family room is to your left with a television. Families to come in and spend time with their loved one. On the right, the room that we're in now is the library/reading room, we call it. It's a very quaint, quiet room to come and to spend quiet time and read. Like you said, look out of the windows and
right at the traffic over there.
Watch the children over to elementary school.
You can see them right now. That's right.
A lot of traffic and the construction that's going on around us. And so you come through the building, and then you have a receptionist area on the right, and director's offices, activities office, my sister Pam, and Delisa McAllister is our director, and her office is on the right. Then you proceed on down the main hallway, and you enter the main dining room, which we think is very pretty. We had lunch there today.
Yes,
and,
yes.
You go into the dining room with the kitchen connected, the commercial kitchen to your left. Then you come back into the interior of the building, and you have two main hallways to your left and to your right. And they go down and then tee off at each end. And at each end is a very large, centrally located nurses station on each end, which is where all of our which is where all of our certified nursing assistants, and we have an RN nurse on staff now. That's where they spend their time as far as doing their paperwork and their checks. So
and it is a lot has to happen when you're in an assisted living facility like this,
especially with the medications.
The
medications are managed That's why we use the certified nursing assistants.
Oh, yeah.
And med techs, which are approved through the state of South Carolina, and
Sure.
DEC monitors that.
Right.
And then by adding the RN, she's just an added check for us and balance to make sure that things are being done correctly,
Right.
following the doctor's orders, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
what we're regulated by, is making sure that we follow doctor's orders and regulations that are in line with DEC.
And you felt as you were planning it and meeting with folks and talking, and obviously the Lord backing you, that you would be able to do all that. You would have all the checks and balances. You would lay it all out and knew how important that was.
That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Very crucial.
Mhm.
Very crucial. But the nurses station is just fabulous. It's centrally located.
Right.
They all have a personal nurse call pager on them. The residents have the little pennant that
Right.
they can wear around their neck on a necklace somewhere. Others just like to pin it on their clothing,
Right.
and they just press the button. It does not alarm in the building. No one hears it except the CNA nurses. They have a pager that goes to them, and it just gives a little slight beeping sound.
And lets them know
And-
who it
and
is
lets
also?
them know who it is,
Wow.
what time it is, and they respond very accordingly.
Immediately.
And
That's
all the
tremendous.
doors, like we talked earlier, are monitored.
Right.
So if you have an individual that should not be going outside and they were to exit a door, the alarm will go off. And I think you were in the dining room with me, or Donald was with me earlier, and I opened the door to demonstrate the alarm.
Right.
And the CNA was in the room within a matter of seconds, really.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
she said,
yeah.
"Want to check on that door?"
Right, right.
So we really try to watch that, and for the safety and security of all the
Oh,
residents.
yeah. That is tremendous. How large is the facility, Sonny?
It's a lot
Seems
larger
to go
than people
on and
think.
on and
Yes.
on, yeah.
It took us a little longer to build than what we anticipated. But once people hear the size of the building, they say, "Wow, we understand now." It's 26,000 square feet.
26,000. Well, it sure
And it's
is airy and roomy throughout
very
as you go
spacious.
down the halls. Humongous, and both very high and wide.
Yeah, we wanted the higher ceilings and the wide hallways,
Right.
so you could have your med cart there, and families could come by and still have room to maneuver. 28 rooms. The
Right.
rooms are 14. The standard room is 14 by 28.
Well, they are gigantic rooms.
They are.
I was amazed. I've
And-
never seen anything like it.
And our residents are choosing. We will help them if they don't. If they have a piece of furniture that they need help with, we'll be glad to help them with that
Right.
in acquiring that. But all of our families right now are bringing their own furniture
Is
from
that
home.
right?
They want it. We want it to be as well
Right.
with the family. We want it to be their home, their residence. So
Yeah.
using their furniture, it makes them settle in a little better. Decorate it any way they want.
Right.
We don't have closets. We're using wardrobes. They can have one or two wardrobes, which also dresses off the room as well. And there's some pretty rooms. Some of these families,
Oh, yeah.
the families have really done
They've been
remarkable.
amazed when
It is.
when you come
Yeah.
in, when they come in and
Yeah.
see
It's just
how folks have
remarkable the
decorated
planning
rooms. Yeah.
that some of the ladies have done, and maybe some of the men as well. But
It's a
they
broad
have-
crowd. You've got a great mix of folks.
But most of them have a section with maybe the double bed at the back of the room
Right.
next to window, and every room has a window for exit purposes if you were to have a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Every room is equipped with the state-of-the-art fire alarm and suppression system
Right.
in every room. Some of the rooms, the beds are at the back, and then they have like a little divider,
Oh, yeah.
a little screen
Yeah.
separator, and then they have separating that from a little sitting area with maybe a recliner, a television in the corner.
That's
Very
tremendous.
nice, with lamps sitting around, a lot of plants.
Do you
Very
encourage
nice.
folks to come by, let's say our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina, if they're coming down to the beach to visit for the weekend, can they pop by, stop into Carolina Forest, come by and see?
Greg, we would love for that to happen.
Really? Yeah,
Yes,
great.
they could come by, and if they could call us ahead, that's great.
Right.
903-0700.
Good.
If
It's
they're
good
not-
to know.
if they're not-
903-0700. Okay.
Right. Area code 843.
Right.
And if they're not in the area, if they can't call us ahead of time and they're in the area, please come by anyway.
Come on by.
Come on by and see us. They can have lunch with us, complimentary lunch.
Wow,
and
listen
look
to
at-
that.
or
You're going to have
dinner.
a lot of folks
Yeah.
coming by, yes.
Yeah, and
what are the best times during the day if they are coming by? Are there better times than others?
well, we prefer it to be Monday through Friday
Okay.
when
Sure.
Lisa is here and Pam's here.
Okay.
Monday through Friday from 9 till 6.
From 9 to 6. So
Right.
sometime during that
From 9 to 6 would be
9-hour time
Right.
period, Monday
Sure.
through Friday. That's
Sure.
great.
But if that doesn't work, we've had a lot of people come through on weekends as
Sure,
well.
I
And
bet.
the staff is here, show them around.
That's right.
And we encourage that. We'll accommodate them any way we can.
Well, it is a gorgeous
see the
facility.
And the most important part, Greg, I'd like to say, yes, the building's important, but I want folks to see the love and the passion that the people have for what they're doing here. When you talk to them, I really think you'll see and feel the passion that the staff has for the residents in this type of work.
I can see it right now as I'm looking into the family room, and there's a gentleman there talking to one of your residents. It's a special thing. A lot of back and forth going on. A TV even going over there here at 7 a.m. to think there's a lot having to happen.
Right. Sometimes it's tough to make that adjustment. I know years ago when I had to place my uncle in assisted living, and he was at a wonderful place. The girls loved him and took very good care of him.
Right.
But it was the hardest thing for me to do. And I know for those who might be watching and you might be dealing with this situation in your family, I've been there.
Right.
And part of that, a big part of that is the reason I'm in this business today. And I understand what you're dealing with, what you're going through with, and the difficulty in having to make that decision is the best thing for mom or dad to be at an assisted living.
Right.
And we want to help them with that process.
Who is allowed to come into an assisted living facility? Is it age specific? Is it physical health specific? Is it mental health specific? I mean,
well, a lot of people think it's age specific, but it's not. We have had interest from a lady who was in her early 40s.
Okay,
and
sure.
just needed care.
Right.
And it didn't work out with that family.
Right.
But that need is there. And the state requirements is a person just has to be ambulatory. They have to be able to move around somewhat on their own.
Okay,
even though they have to,
even
if they have to have assistance, they just cannot be bedridden.
Okay.
When you become bedridden is the point you need to really be considering skilled nursing.
A nursing home.
That's exactly
not an
right.
assisted living
That's
facility.
Right.
It's important that
That's
folks
right.
understand the distinction.
That's true.
There is a clear
That is true.
distinction. I bet a lot of people
That is
get it
true.
confused. I know I have in the past. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
even something below or where folks are in much better shape oftentimes.
That's right. But maybe you need help with your cooking of your meals.
Right.
It's getting to the point where maybe you're afraid to use
Right.
your stove in your home with the
Certain
oven, afraid you
utensils,
might leave it on, or
Right.
maybe that concern is there. Then we could be of help. Maybe you need help with your medications.
Right.
Maybe, and that's extremely important today.
Oh,
Always has been that you take your medications the proper way. Maybe there's a little mix-up in your home about taking your medicines and you need help with that.
Sure.
Then assisted living would be good for that.
843-903-0700. We've only got a few minutes, and I want to make sure we talk about life blueprints.
We can touch
Obviously,
on it. We can touch on it if you want to.
That's a
That's
director
right.
of music at Socastee Baptist Church. How
Yes,
long
sir.
have you been doing that?
Well, I've been at Socastee. I've been back there now for 3 years.
Okay.
Going on 3 years.
Sure.
Prior to that, I traveled for 8 years.
Right.
Sharing the music in this program.
This is tremendous.
And I was on
program.
staff at Socastee when I was in the school district. My full-time work was at the school district as a teacher and assistant principal.
For
and
12
worked in-
years.
Right. Worked in
Right.
strategic planning and became a principal as well.
Where were
And
you a
then
principal?
At the Academy for Arts, Science, and Technology.
Is that right? Boy, that's
Who
exciting.
just moved in a brand new building.
I know.
This past
Could
month.
you've
right
ever
here-
imagined? Yeah,
Right here in Carolina
yeah.
Forest. And I have not been over to the new school, but I want to get there.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So I was bivocational with Socastee Baptist those 15 years. as
Is
well.
that right? That's tremendous.
I love those people. It's a wonderful church. Wonderful
Where
church.
is that
there.
located for viewers who may not be familiar?
On 707. I
Okay.
refer to it as the old Air Base,
Right.
the old Air Force Base, which
Sure.
is now being developed. I can't recall the name of that
The
development.
Market Common, yeah. one
Market
of the
Commons,
big,
that's right. I can't
Withers
believe I've been thinking about
Preserve,
that.
and yeah, sure.
Right, when you would be on the bypass 17, you would take a left to go into Market Commons.
Right.
Well, you just take a right, and we're just 3/10 of a mile right off of the bypass.
Is that right? Over on the right.
Over on the right.
I think I know where that
new
is.
Sanctuary.
Right.
It sits right up on the edge of
Oh,
the
it's
road.
beautiful. Not far from there's a car wash over there, and
That's
then
right.
you pass the car wash,
Yeah,
and the
that's right.
Baptist church is on
That's
your right.
right.
I did
And
not know you
we're
were
an
that
excited
close.
congregation of people, and would love for people to come and see us there. I direct the music, children's choir,
Are
senior
there
choir,
multiple
church
services?
choir.
Is that all during the week or just on Sunday?
We're going to have multiple service this Easter.
Right.
On March the 23rd. We're going
Right.
to have a 7 o'clock service, 8:30 service, and 11.
Wow.
Or excuse me, 10:30 on Easter.
Right.
But normally we just have the one service
The
on
10:30.
Sunday morning
Right.
at 5 minutes to 11.
Oh, at
We
5
begin.
till 11.
And then
Listen to
7
that.
o'clock in that evening. But we're
It's
going
good to
we're going
get
to have
folks monitoring their clocks.
yeah,
their
we're going to have a
watches,
couple
yeah.
extra services for Easter.
Great.
to accommodate those who might want to come at 8:30.
And do you have other services during the week on Wednesdays?
Have prayer or Bible study /
Right.
prayer meeting on Wednesdays at 7.
That's great. How
But
exciting!
I love the church there. Wonderful group of people.
When we think about a director of music, you're just bringing everyone together.
Well, yes,
I mean, that's
in a way.
yeah.
Music is such a vital part of any church.
Right, exactly.
vital
I mean, you
part
are
of it.
really interfacing the entire congregation.
That's exactly
Ultimately deals with music. There's not,
right.
I mean, everyone has to come around
That's right.
in that regard.
That's right. Work very closely with the pastor.
Right.
Our pastor is Micah Lane, and he's a wonderful man of the
Micah
Lord.
Lane.
Micah Lane. And his wife and their children. He's a wonderful pastor, and I work very closely with him.
That's great.
And just try to assist him any way I can to make sure that whenever we enter the pulpit on Sundays, that the music and just the feeling tone and the spirit of the service is where it needs to be, so that when he can bring in a message from the Bible.
Speaking of that, I always wondered about that. Do the director of music and the pastor or the minister get together on a regular basis to make sure that the music kind of matches up with the sermon? Or
We
you
do.
right?
We do. We don't meet every week on that.
Right.
We do meet frequent and talk.
Sure,
Like last
sure.
night, just before choir practice, I
Right.
had one of our deacons and went and asked him for me. Didn't I hear you say your message Sunday was going to be about joy?
Right.
And
right.
I tried to get a song that would go with that message, yes.
That's great.
So we do communicate on that.
How exciting. You
I
know,
think it just makes the service come together. And
Absolutely.
sometimes that doesn't happen.
Right, sure.
You know, from the human standpoint, sometimes we might miss it. But most times, hopefully all the time,
Right.
the Lord is involved in the planning of that and speaking to my heart and to His heart. And it just always seems to match up.
Listen
like it
to
just
that.
dovetails beautifully together.
You and the Lord communicate
Yes.
a lot, so
Yeah.
yeah. That's tremendous. You know, when you think about that communication, obviously the Lord was involved in laying out life blueprints,
No
helping
question.
to make that
No
happen.
question.
Share with viewers real quick. We got 4 or
question.
5 minutes. Just
Okay.
how did Life Blueprints come about, and why did you work so hard to commit to traveling around for 8 years to spread this message?
I felt like, Greg, when I left the school system, for 8 years before the concept of reflections came to fruition,
Right.
I just saw a need with young people, and even with adults, to just have something that I could provide to them to maybe help them deal with situations in their business, in their personal life,
Right.
in their daily walk, in the daily problems that they might be dealing with. And I just put together this program called Life Blueprints, which has, as an acrostic, every letter stands for something.
Right. I
It
saw
has
that.
it has those components that when you talk about them and when I share them in a program or civic group or church or business, then I talk about them and I break those down and apply them to our personal lives, whether it be personally and professionally. And talk about how these success components, I refer to them as, can help you become a better person,
Right.
and a better employee, a better father or mother,
Right.
a better church member,
Yes.
a better
yeah.
choir member.
Right.
You know, whatever we might do, you just make it relevant and make it applicable for that situation.
That's tremendous. Did your wife and son travel with you while you were traveling all over the country during those 8 years? I mean, you were
Carolyn
really-
did. Carolyn did. She
yeah.
went with me everywhere. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Joshua did not. Being from the beach here, my family still grounded here. He'd stay with Grandmama.
I love
A lot
it.
of times
Smart call.
he would
Yeah,
stay with
yeah, yeah.
Grandmama.
Get out of
Carolyn-
town,
Carolyn
Mom,
and
Dad.
myself
You all
would-
enjoy
Yeah,
yourselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
But me and Carolyn would travel off, and of course my mom and my dad was living in. He'd always look forward to me coming back, and he said, "Tell me about your trip."
Yeah.
You know, and we had some wonderful stories. Met some wonderful people across this country.
Yeah.
Some
yeah. And
wonderful
you really
people.
did travel
Oh, yeah.
all over.
Oh yes, basically the southeast.
Right, sure.
We'd go up into Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Right.
Had numerous opportunities to go into Indiana, but never made it. Just couldn't
Right.
get the calendars to work.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot in South Carolina, North Carolina, a little over into Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Louisiana a couple times.
And what was driving you? What was pushing this? What was it during your 12 years in the school system or otherwise that really set the stage to say, I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right?
My passion for people, and my passion to help people, and my passion and the love just to try to make a difference in people's lives.
Wow, that's tremendous.
Which is the same foundation. Life Blueprints is a part of Reflections here. Where myself and Delisa, our director, and Pam and our staff will be spending quite a bit of time on this in the days and months and even the years to come. Because I believe it's a good foundation for not only this business, but any business or any group.
That sounds
You know?
biblical almost.
Yeah.
The passion for people. I mean,
Sure.
clearly God,
Sure.
Christ had that passion.
That's right, Greg.
That passion comes
That's
through
it,
very
right.
clearly here as you
That's
think
right.
that through, and obviously the promise of our future or for our future,
Right.
setting the stage for that.
Right, right.
And what drives you now? Obviously with Reflections, and you're juggling a number of things, the director of music there at
Right.
Socastee Baptist Church, still thinking, and people are still contacting you about life blueprints. What's driving you now?
Well, like I said, the love and the passion
Yeah.
to make a difference. I'm not traveling like I used to. I feel like with the responsibilities here at Reflections, I'm not here every day.
Right.
But I do want people to know that if they choose to come to Reflections with their family, that they can walk in at any time and request to see me as the owner, and I will be here. I will make time to come and meet with them and talk with them, and Delisa does a wonderful job in
Right.
addressing any needs and concerns that they might have. But I think it's important that you be able to, the family that's involved in the ownership of it.
Right.
I think that's a great big plus, Greg.
And your sister,
And-
of course, here.
Yes, yeah.
right.
Well, Dr. McIntyre's wife came in this morning, and she knew Pam through Dr. McIntyre's office
Right.
some years ago. And you saw how well they were communicating and
Oh,
having
yeah,
a wonderful
sure.
time. It's, building relationships is so important, and that's one of the components, the success components of Life Blueprints.
Right.
And I want to do that here. I'm going to do that here.
Absolutely.
And I just think it's so crucial of my involvement in the business, not necessarily on a daily basis, but being available.
Those are great
Yes.
words. Sonny, I'm sorry we've run out of time.
Oh,
Thanks so much for being with us this
Thank
morning.
you, Greg. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank
Stay
you so
tuned
much.
to more Carolina People with the owner of Reflections Assisted Living, Sonny Clardy, coming up next. Life blueprints. You heard Sonny talk about it. Each one of those letters has a special meaning. P right there in print for passion. Could you feel the passion? Could you see the passion? His passion for the love of music ministry, something he's been in since he was a child. The passion for the residents right here in Reflections Assisted Living. The passion for his family. It's all about family in the end, about service, and right here at Reflections you'll see it every day. The passion of Sonny Clardy and the entire crew here. Come by and visit them or give them a call, 843-903-0700. Reflections.